Alright, I guess I will start this thing. Hello and welcome, everybody. This is the Happy Accidents class. And what I want to start with is defining what an accident is and what I mean by happy accidents. So, what is a happy accident? Well, an accident is anything that's not intentional that you didn't plan. And a happy accident would be something that's not intentional that actually works for you or inspires you to create something better than what you originally intended. So, to start, I've already kind of really screwed around with my canvas. um, and I'm going to start painting something. You always have to have an idea to start with in order to have an accident. If you just start painting randomly, that's just painting randomly. It's not an accident. It's a unplanned painting. So what you need to start with in order to have a happy accident is to actually have an idea of what you want to paint and let the painting evolve through the accidental marks that you make. So I've started, and my idea was to start doing a kind of a rocket girl, you could say, um, but kind of wanting to screw around with it with the size. I think it's actually too close, and that's when you're going to start seeing the accidents happening. Is because when I start resizing it, it could possibly turn into something completely different based on how I perceive the design being different because of the small changes made. And at this point, I'm actually seeing a lot of different things going on and what I can make it into because of the previous marks made, which be like a more like a angel Spartan woman chick looking thing. um, instead of a rocket girl, just because of some of the marks made previous, which would be considered happy accidents that would influence your design. A good point was just made um, reading down and what you guys are saying uh, is that when an accident happens, usually you do, erase or undo whatever, trying to fix whatever you're trying to do. But part of just trying to do a happy accident, like if you want to purposefully do it, is just to, if you accidentally draw outside the line or something like that, you just let it be and just keep going and see where it goes. I guess a really good example of a happy accident that just happened, or not just happened, but just by the way it looks, would be this hand because I just scribbled it originally, just trying to make like a balled fist or something, and it actually looks like a really intense looking claw gesture, and I did not intend for that to happen at all, but it did, and it looks great, so I'm just going to roll with it, and that'd be a perfect example of a happy accident. Okay, now that I got the illustration to a fairly decent point where um, most people would be very happy with it and be like, yay! I'm going to do something which is the unexpected accident but on purpose. So let's just say Sketch Club glitches out and it kind of really screws with your painting, and I'm going to show you how, with the right design uh, ideas in mind, that you can recover from it and make it actually better. So, here goes me screwing up things on purpose by accident, if that makes any sense. Oh no, I've made a giant mark on my piece, and for some reason Sketch Club crashed and I can't undo it, and I'm forever stuck with that giant mark on my piece. Whoa, whatever I do. Uh, what I've been focusing on since that accidental mark is it's actually caused my eye to see a bunch of potential shadows that would make the contrast more interesting and make the character pop out even further just by that stroke. And though it was unintentional, it's actually starting to look better just because there are a lot more shaded areas that make the other areas pop out more. And by adding a few highlights here and there, it has made the piece more dynamic. It is now time to figure out the color scheme. And believe it or not, this is usually the part where I just screw around. Uh, I really don't have preference to the colors. I just know which colors work based on the theory behind the color wheel and complementary and rudimentary and whatnot colors. Uh, and I just kind of pick the colors at random and see kind of really what starts clicking. Um, I don't think that's considered accidental though. So what would be an accident would be if I wasn't expecting two colors to mesh that made into another color that is working better than the two colors that I originally intended. So, yeah. Example of the color accidents that I meant is I'm getting this really weird sort of tint of green that I'm totally digging in the shadows right underneath her uh, chest and her back and whatnot that leads into her armor. And I'm really liking that green, and though that wasn't a color that I intended to even have, but was produced by the screwing around of me. I guess to answer the question, if there's been any accidents, there's been unintentional strokes that have, through my eye of design, become integrated with the piece. So, what people technically think of as making an accident, I just think of as an opportunity to develop a design. Yeah, I'm just grabbing colors that I'm finding on the canvas and just kind of replaying or putting them back on. Uh, it's the same way that you would use it in Photoshop to quickly change between colors and also blend. I'm gonna add the final highlights and final little details, and then I'm gonna call this piece done. And I hope you guys learned something about happy accidents, more so how to think about them, and maybe if you were here to see a few of the ones I made, how you can use them to your advantage. Yeah, if you have any questions for me to specifically answer, uh, hang in there for a second. All right, so I'm sorry if you were asking questions. I was I just barely looked down, and the scroller is literally like going off the chain, and I'm like, whoa! So yeah, let me back it up to see if you guys asked any questions. I like honey on my waffles. For a background layer, it's really just depending on the mood. So I pick colors that I want to convey mood. This one was, kind of like this very epic looking Spartan looking chick. So golds and brighter tones and warmer tones would make her feel more epic than if I were to use like really cool colors like blues, purples, and whatnot. So it really is just based on what kind of feel you're trying to get for the subject that you're trying to do. The DB in my name just is my middle and last name, Davison Bradley. Yeah, it's kind of spoils the fun when you know. I try not to be biased towards the a single particular brush because I like to utilize all the tools in my disposal. Um, so it just really depends on what I'm trying to get at. If I want a clean line or something, I'll either use the pen tool or I'll use the sketchy tool or I'll use a one of the brushes that's uh, really high opacity. The longest time I've spent on a drawing, I would have to say would be back when I was in college and I had a piece that I had worked on for at least 2 weeks, and I would say a total of like 48 hours. But that's probably the longest drawing I did, and I'll probably never do something like that again. Or if I were to do it again, I'd be a lot quicker because I know how to go about it. Bob, Bob Ross was not an influence really. I guess if I could, I'd go back and have his hair. I uh, I draw because I love to illustrate and create things, and I've always actually wanted to be a writer, but I was never that good at writing and never good at grammar, English, or anything. Um, but drawing came very naturally to me, so it was my way of expressing stories and tales and just ideas in a way that I could, and it ended up being something that would take me places. Yeah, Frank Frazetta is definitely one of my major influences. I love all of his work. Um, I don't know who gave it to me, but one of my friends back in college gave me a PDF that had literally his whole entire sketchbook in it. Well, sketchbooks. And man, when I go through those, it makes me like trip out. I love Frank Frazetta. Bunny art The best way would be to like have the subject matter in mind of what you want, but be free form about how it comes out. Start very loosely, start quickly, start with a bold stroke and have confidence in yourself and what you're doing. Uh, it'll allow things to appear on your page that you might have not thought of or you think that is better. Um, and this usually only goes for things that are not still life. If you're trying to like draw from your imagination, always try and quickly get the idea out as fast as you can to the page before you start doing any detailing. I'll answer two questions at once. I've been drawing since I've been able to as a child. I never liked coloring inside the lines of anything that was ever given to me. I always liked a blank sheet of paper and always trying to figure out how to draw my own things. And I've done many figure drawing classes, and I love doing anatomy and figure drawing. It was always something I was always very interested in, is because I find the human form definitely the most engaging thing to draw. It's because it's something that can be morphed into many different things if you understand how to draw it. Yeah, that would be mostly true of um, making multiple lines. But there is also, if any of you know Kim Jung-gi, he is the master of the single stroke. Every line he makes has a purpose, and when it all comes out, his illustrations are absolutely crazy and amazing. So I agree, but I would say that when you get to a certain point, you will have the confidence and the ability to make a single stroke that is the stroke, and you'll make it like 99% of the time. I don't know if I have a favorite teacher as much as I have just favorite artists that influence me. Um, I've mentioned before, like Kike Kotaki and yeah, Frank Frazetta, Noah Bradley, Dan Luvisi, uh, Kenneth Rockerford, uh, Norman Rockwell, just uh, not really teachers, just uh, fellow artists that have done amazing things and have definitely influenced my style and my thought process. Oh, Feng Zhu, it's a really good one. Um I don't remember any others on my head, top of my head. I tend to keep everything very loose. Doesn't matter if it's a sketch or if it's a painting. The reason being is that I like the being able to see my brush strokes. I like the artist's hand, and if you just concentrate too hard, everything ends up looking really stiff, and it starts losing the energy that it once had. Age, I'm guessing you mean what era and time do I like making looking armor and clothing just as far as subject matter. It doesn't really. I'm not biased, but I do like mixing the eras. So I'll make like a stormtrooper-ish looking guy that has a chainmail for some reason, and he's in 3000 BC or something in space or something. I don't know. It's just I like all around influence from every age, every era. It just really does depend on what I'm trying to convey. Um, as far as my medium, I prefer whatever works. I could sit down with a crayon and be happy and content. As far as like my preference for doing professional work, I don't know if I really have one. they all have their uses and they all have different ways that can be used. And I've enjoyed learning and experiencing every single tool and medium. So I don't really have a preference. I just think that there is a specific tool for a specific job, and whatever works, works. I never get tired of answering questions, but I actually do need to get going because I gotta take care of a client who wants to talk to me. But I guess no, I don't ever get. If I had like hours and hours to spend, I would just keep stand here and just keep answering questions. And with that, I will end this by saying thank you all for coming and watching, and I hope you all learned something. If not, you just enjoyed watching me make something interesting. Um, and because I have to, and I know that the rest of my team at Golma will be upset at me if I don't. We hit our goal, thank goodness. We have an Indigo that is currently up, and it'll be up for, I think, 2 more weeks or so. And we recently made it so PayPal can be used, and we're just like extremely grateful for everybody who's supported us so far. And we're just we're ecstatic about the book, and it's going to be coming out in September. And I guess the promotion part of this would be is that you can get it for I think it's $10, but there's only 40 slots left for the $10 book, and I don't know. Just thank you all for coming out, and I'll talk to you guys later. Yeah. I don't exactly remember all the questions that were asked. Sorry, Black Pawn. Just, I guess, I don't know. Look back at the answer that I gave the most in-depth answer to, and I guess that would be the one that I thought about the most. So logically, would be the one that I pick.